And hello, this is Lucas McFarland. Another Tuesday. Today, I wanted to go over MLB, all the college football games that happened in the last week, the NFL that happened in the last week, standings for every game. Well, not the college football yet. Maybe the NFL. I wanted to get into more of the college football standings next week because there's not a lot of conference games just yet or so. Also, the Red Sox got 103 wins. They have 47 losses. Really good record, up 12 games over the Yankees. They play at 7:05 tonight. We'll get more in the MLB in a second. Want to go over college, NFL, MLB, NASCAR, NBA, the stuff that's been going on this week. It's been insane this week. A lot of football activity that's been happening. We'll get into some surprises, non-surprises. We'll see. We'll start with the Hurricane. A lot of the Hurricane games were affected. One of them on Wednesday, Coastal Carolina beat Campbell 58-21. They're both 2-1 after the third week of the season. The standout there for Coastal Carolina was Kilton Anderson, 5 carries, 67 yards. And Tyler, the wide receiver, had a reception, 81 yards and a touchdown. That's a Wednesday game, first Wednesday game of the year. Charlotte won their first USA game. They're 2-1 now. They beat Old Dominion. They're 0-3 now, 28-25. And Charlotte's big standout was Benny LeMay, the running back, 25 carries, 93 yards, no touchdowns. Their Thursday one that got moved because of the hurricane from 5:30. Boston College got their first ACC win. They're 3-0 now. They beat Wake Forest. They're 2-1 now. And Boston College 1-0 in the ACC. Wake is 0-1. They won 41-34 over Wake Forest. Big standouts for Boston College all over the board. Look out for this team down the stretch. Anthony Brown 60-25, 304 yards, 5 touchdowns. AJ Dillon 33 carries, 185 yards, 1 touchdown. Jeff Smith 6 receptions, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns. Boston College looks like a sneak team right now. Utah State, they played Michigan State very well a few weeks ago. They won 73-12 over Tennessee Tech. They're 2-1 now, and Tennessee Tech's 0-3. The standout here was Darwin Thompson of Utah State, 6 carries, 106 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. The only Friday one that happened, didn't watch it. Memphis won 59-22. They're 2-1 now. Georgia State's 1-2. They beat Georgia State. Brady White of Memphis was 19-26, the quarterback, 269 yards and 5 touchdowns. Big standout there. Oh, I don't. Are these all the games? Yep, these are all the games. We'll go over the ranked games because there were a lot of interesting ranked competitions. Ole Miss got up 7-0 first play of the game. They got a pass touchdown. Uh-oh, is Alabama in trouble? No, they just scored 28 points in the first quarter, then won 62-7. They were up big at halftime, 49-7. And then that was it. That Tail Tagovailoa guy, I still can't pronounce his name right, was the standout here. He was 11-15, 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bama looks great this year. I wouldn't want to play that team. Clemson struggled early. I was watching a little bit of this game. It was scoreless at the end of the first quarter. They were up 21-0 at halftime. Then they pulled away 38-7. Trevor Lawrence here, he was 12-19, 194 yards and 1 touchdown. Them and Kelly Bryant keep switching. That'll be something to watch for Clemson. Georgia and they're 3-0 now. Georgia Southern's 2-1. Old Miss is 2-1. Bama's 3-0. Georgia's now 3-0. They beat their third ranked. They beat Middle Tennessee 40-7. Middle Tennessee's 1-2. Georgia's standout was Elijah Holyfield, 8 carries, 100 yards. They had a 70-yard punt return for a touchdown too. They were up big at the half, 42-7. They didn't do anything after that. The big one game day was at Ohio State and TCU. Ohio State won 40-28. They were struggling. Oh, they're down 17-13 at the half until they pulled away late in the game. Big third quarter for them. And they had 33 points in the third after that. And it was 33-28 in the fourth, and Ohio State won 40-28. Dwayne Haskins, the fourth against 15th, by the way. Dwayne Haskins was 24-38. He had 344 yards, 2 touchdowns. Darius Anderson at TCU was another standout, too. I don't normally get losing in standouts. He had 12 carries, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Ohio State went 3-0. TCU's 2-1. Oklahoma, they're 5th ranked. They had their first conference game. They played Iowa State. Oklahoma was up 20 10 at the half, and they pulled away late, 37-27. First game without Rodney Anderson for him. Oklahoma standout was Marquise Brown, the wide receiver. He had 9 receptions, 191 yards, and 1 touchdown. So OU went 3-0, 1-0 in the Big 12. And Iowa State's 0-2, 0-1 in the Big 12. The upset for the top 10, there were two top 10 teams that went down. BYU beat Wisconsin 24-21 in Wisconsin. Madison's a hard place to play. And it was 14-all at the half, 21-14 in the third quarter. Eventually BYU won 24-21 with a late field goal. BYU standout was Squally Canada. He had 11 carries, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. As BYU went 2-1, now Wisconsin 6th ranked. They've dropped. They're 2-1 as well. I thought they'd be a Big Ten contender. Jonathan Taylor got slowed down a little bit too. The other big game was 12th ranked LSU and 7th ranked Auburn. This is their first SEC matchup that they played against each other. Auburn was at 14-10 at the half until LSU got a late field goal as time expired from Cole Tracy, 42 yards, 22-21. Standout for LSU was Joe Burrow. He was 15-34. He had 249 yards and a touchdown as 12th ranked LSU. They should be in the top 5 now. They got 2. They're the best team in my opinion right now, other than Alabama. They have 2 wins against ranked teams. 2, and they're both in the top 10. They should be higher than that, at least a top 4 contender. If they beat Alabama, put them in the playoff. They got to win the SEC to do everything. Good for LSU. They're 3-0, 1-0 in the SEC conference. Notre Dame struggled again. They're 8th ranked. They barely beat Vanderbilt 22-17. They're 3-0. Vanderbilt's 2-1. The standout there was for Notre Dame was Tony Jones Jr. He had 17 carries, 118 yards. But Notre Dame was only up 16-3 at the half, 16-10 the third. Then they won 22-17. They got to work on a lot of stuff. They go on their first road game. We'll get into the matchups next week. Stanford, I think they didn't have Bryce Love. They won 30-10. They were up to only 17-3 at the half. They're 9th in the nation. Keisha Costello was 17-30, 214 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stand out for Stanford as they go 3-0. UC Davis was 2-1. 10th ranked Washington had a possible upset watch. They first Pac-12 game they played Utah. They won 21-7. Browning was 14-24, 155 yards and a touchdown. As Washington they only won 21-7. That's a big disappointment. But I think Washington could do better. They're 1-0 in the Pac-12, 2-1 overall. Utah's 2-1, 0-1 in the Pac-12. Penn State the last 2 weeks has surprised me that they're struggling against Appalachian State. They're 11th in the nation. They won 63-10. They won big. Really big. DeAndre Tompkins, the wide receiver for Penn State, had 4 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Standout in that game. Nick Fitzgerald has first home game. He got suspended for the home opener. They hosted Louisiana as they won 56-10 over Louisiana. They're 3-0 now. Penn State's also 3-0, and Louisiana's 1-1. Nick Fitzgerald was 14-21, 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 15 carries, 107 yards, and 4 touchdowns. The guy could do it all, run and pass. Look out for Mississippi State down the stretch. Another ranked matchup. 17th ranked Boise State traveled to 24th ranked Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State was up 17-7 at the half. Then they were up 34-21. Then they just won 44-21. Oklahoma State's standout was a running back named Justice Hill. He had 15 carries, 123 yards and a touchdown. As Oklahoma State went 3-0, they should be higher ranked now that they beat a ranked team. Boise State was a group of 5 contender. Now they lost. I don't think they'll be in it anymore. They're 2-1 now as they lost. Michigan was 19th ranked. They hosted SMU. They won 45-20. Shea Patterson was great. He was 14-18, 237 yards and 3 touchdowns. Was the standout in that game. They were up 21-7 at the half, then 35-13. Then they won 45-20. Michigan, Oregon. They haven't really played anybody yet. They barely beat San Jose State, and Michigan's 2-1 by the way. And Oregon started 3-0. San Jose State's 0-3. SMU played Michigan. They're 0-3 now. I got to go over all the ranked matchups. Oregon won 35-22. Justin Herbert was 16-34, 309 yards and 3 touchdowns. I watched this one. 21st ranked Miami was at Toledo. They were only up 21-7 at the half before pulling away, winning 49-24. They're 2-1 now. Toledo's 1-1. This was at Toledo. DJ Davis for Miami had 17 carries, 110 yards, and a touchdown as Miami won the game. USC and Texas. I don't know if Texas was ranked. I got to look at the matchups now. They got their 900th win. They beat USC. USC was their 22nd ranked USC. They were up 14-3. USC was until Texas came back. They were up 16-14. USC didn't do anything after the first quarter. Texas won 37-14. As Trey Watson for Texas was a standout. He had 18 carries, 72 yards, no touchdowns. Herm Edwards, Arizona State, they were ranked after beating Michigan State. Losing 28-21. Standout here was Jawan Washington of San Diego State. He had 27 carries, 138 yards, and a touchdown as they start 2-1. Arizona State's now 2-1. With a letdown loss. Same with USC. Those were all the ranked games. The rest of them were noon to like the rest. UConn got their first win. They beat Rhode Island 56-49. Kevin Manish of UConn had 25 carries, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Army finally beat Hawaii. Hawaii got their first loss of the year. They lost to Army 28-21. Standout there was Kevin Hopkins Jr. 20 carries, 110 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Army's 2-1 now. We'll go over the whole records and ranked matchups next week. Nebraska doesn't look good under Scott Frost. They lost 24-19 to Troy. That tells you how Nebraska's going to have a long year. Scott Frost goes from an undefeated season to now 0-2 with Nebraska, and that's disappointing there. Troy had a Smith touchdown. Didn't see a lot of stats there except for Andrew Bunch for Nebraska was 19-27, 177 yards and 2 touchdowns for Nebraska. Florida State with Willie Taggart, they look awful. They're 0-2 in the ACC, starting off 1-2. They lost 30-7 to Syracuse. Syracuse won 30-7. Mo Neal of Syracuse at 19 carries, 75 yards was the standout in that one, but Florida State needs a lot of work. Kansas beat Rutgers 55-14. They're 2-1 now. They won 2 in a row. Kansas looks better than they ever had. First back-to-back wins in over 8 years. Puka Williams Jr. had 18 carries, 158 yards, and a touchdown. IU is an underrated team. They started 3-0. They beat Ball State 38-10. IU Stevie Scott's guy to watch. He had 18 carries, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Temple got their first win. They beat Maryland. I'm disappointed in Maryland. They beat Texas week 1, and they lose to a winless Temple team. Now they're not winless anymore. Temple won 35-14. Anthony Russo, the quarterback, was 15-25, 228 yards, and a touchdown for Temple. Kentucky beat Murray State. They start 3-0. That team should be ranked. They beat Florida, already a ranked Florida team. They won 48-10. Terry Wilson of Kentucky was the standout, 13 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Jeremy Pruitt, Tennessee started 2-1, but they didn't win in the right way. They won 24-0, but they should have got a lot more points. Ty Chandler of Tennessee had 12 carries, 158 yards, and a touchdown as Tennessee went 2-1. UTEP's 0-3 now. First ACC games for Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech. Pittsburgh won 24-19. Standout there was Tyser Mack of Pittsburgh. He had 4 receptions, 95 yards, and they go 2-1, 1-0 in the ACC. While Georgia Tech's 1-2 second straight loss. They're 0-1 in conference. UAB beat Tulane 31-24. As Spencer Brown to Utah, UAB had 24 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Standout for the winning team. UAB's 2-1. Tulane's 1-2. Excuse me. South Florida's a dangerously underrated team. They played at Illinois. This was at Soldier Field in Chicago. They won 25-19 over Illinois. They start 3-0. Illinois is 2-1. Blake Barnett, quarterback to watch. He was 23-40, 411 yards and 2 touchdowns for South Florida. Duke and Baylor, they were both 2-0. I was surprised by them. Duke goes 3-0. Baylor's 2-1. Duke won 40-27. Duke's Deion Jackson, the running back, had 10 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. McClellan for Duke had a 53-yard pick six return in that game. Navy beat Lehigh. They're 2-1. They won 51-21. Malcolm Perry of Navy had 19 carries, 223 yards, 3 touchdowns. Look out for that. Central and Northern Illinois. Northern got their first MAC win. They're 1-2. Central's 0-3. They won 24-16. Northern was up 21-10 at the half. Central kind of clipped in a little bit, but NIU standout was DJ Brown, 4 receptions, 69 yards, and a touchdown in that matchup. PJ Fleck of Minnesota started 3-0. They beat Miami of Ohio. They're 0-3. They won 26-3. Standout here was Bryce Williams of Minnesota, 33 carries, 141 yards, no touchdowns. And Tyler Johnson had 9 receptions, 133 yards, and 3 touchdowns for Tennessee as a wide receiver. Kansas State started 2-1. They beat UTSA 41-17. As Skylar Thompson, the quarterback, was 13 of 18 for 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, and also Skylar Thompson had 14 carries, 66 yards, and 1 rush touchdown. Wyoming barely beat Wofford. They're 2-2. They won 17-14. Wofford was 2-0 going into the game. Tyler Vanderwall of Wyoming was 25 of 42, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bowling Green got their first win. They barely beat Eastern Kentucky 42-35. As Bowling Green's Jarrett Dodge was 28-39 for 258 yards and 4 touchdowns. Florida beat Colorado 48-10, and they were up big. They played Jim McElwain's 2 former schools, Florida and Colorado State. As Florida's Damian Pearson had 5 carries, 87 yards. There was an 85-yard punt return for a touchdown for Florida. They're 2-1 now. Long year for Dan Mullen and those guys. North Texas dominated Arkansas. I said this would be an upset pick last week. North Texas won 44-17. Pick sixes and a fake punt, or a punt that we thought was a fake play, and the North Texas ran all the way back. They won 44-17. Arkansas is 1-2. Mason Fine is a standout. He was 24-45, 281 yards, 1 touchdown. Texas Tech won against Houston. They're 2-1. They won 63-49. Alan Bowman, man, he was 43-59 at 605 yards, 5 touchdowns. That was a standout in that one for Texas Tech. A lot of offense. Ohio-Virginia was a game that was affected by the hurricane. They played in Nashville. Virginia won 45-31. They're 2-1 now. Olama Zacchaeus, I can't say his name. He had a 77-yard punt 77-yard touchdown. He had 9 receptions, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns. Colorado started 3-0 against. They beat New Hampshire. They won 45-14. Trevon McMillan had 15 carries, 662 yards, 2 touchdowns in that game. Stand out in that game. California started 3-0. They won 45-23. Oh, whoops. Yes, California won 45-23. As Chase Garbers of California was 20-25 for 224 yards, 3 touchdowns for California. Florida Atlantic and Lane Kiffin, they're 2-1. They beat Bethel and Cookham 49-28. 15 carries, 100 yards for White Jr., the running back for Florida Atlantic. Can't say his first name for some reason. My folks were at this game. Both teams were 2-0 going into the game. Buffalo won 35-28. Tyree Jackson, this guy's a guy to watch for the MAC. He was 21-26, 325 yards and 3 touchdowns. They're 3-0, 1-0 in the MAC. They're a sleeper team in the MAC. South Alabama beat Texas State 41-31. They're 1-2 now, 1-0 in the Sun Belt. Stand out there for South Alabama, Evan Orth, 24-33, 266 yards, 2 touchdowns for the quarterback. Western won 68-0. Running back for Western, Bellamy had 40 yards for a rush touchdown, 7 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown for Western as they won 68-0. They scored points all across the board every time in the fourth quarter. Arkansas State beat Tulsa 29-20. Standout there was Justin McNeese for the wide receiver, had 6 receptions, 66 yards. They start 2-1 as they beat Tulsa. Cincinnati started 3-0. This is a team to watch. They won 63-7. Devon Thomas had 18 carries, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stand out in that game. Nevada beat Oregon State. They're 2-1. They won 37-35. Oregon State missed a game-winning field goal at the last second. Iowa won 38-14. They started 3-0. Their defense is underrated. Nate Stanley, the quarterback, he was 23-28, 309 yards and 2 touchdowns. Louisville beat Western Kentucky 20-17 barely. Malik Cunningham had 21 carries, 129 yards. Missouri's 3-0. They beat an 0-3 Purdue team. They won a 25-yard game-winning field goal. They won 40-37. Larry Roundtree, a junior of Missouri, was 23 carries, 168 yards. Stand out for the victors. Texas A&M beat UL Monroe 48-10. Jimbo gets his second win before they played Bama. Trevon Williams was 22 carries, 128 yards, and a touchdown. Florida International beat UMass 63-24. They're 2-1 now. Florida National's Phillips, the running back, 16 carries, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. Congrats to Akron. They start 2-0, but they go into Northwestern. They're 1-2 now. They win 39-34. They 2 pick sixes on the night, and for Akron, they won 39-34 with a 23-point third quarter that helped them seal the deal at the last second to beat Northwestern. Good for Akron. They're going to be a sleeper MAC team, too. New Mexico beat New Mexico State. They won 42-25. They're 2-1. New Mexico State's 0-4. Washington State beat Eastern Washington 59-24. Tavon Harris had a 100-yard kickoff return. State starts 3-0. UNLV beat Prairie 46-17. Amari Rogers, the running back for UNLV, had 17 carries, 122 yards, 4 touchdowns. Fresno State dominated UCLA. They won 38-14. Chip Kelly has a long year ahead of him. They're 0-3. Fresno State's 2-1. Arizona won 62-31 over Southern Utah with Kevin Sumlin's first win in the canceled games. East Carolina 13th ranked Virginia Tech, 14th ranked West Virginia and NC State, 18th ranked Central Florida and North Carolina, Southern Miss and Appalachian State, Norfolk State and Liberty, and Marshall, South Carolina. A lot of canceled games because of the deadly hurricane that's happened. Prayers for all the victims involved. We'll go over Week 4's matchups, and we'll go over the NFL that happened. Start with Thursday to 20th. 1-2 Tulsa's at 1-2 Temple. I feel as though Temple, after beating Maryland, I think Temple's going to win their first American Conference game. A lot of conference games starting up this week. Friday, Lane Kiffin, Florida Atlantic. They travel to 16th ranked Central Florida 2-0. Central Florida is the top group of 5 team. Now I think Central Florida will win the close one, and they pull away late to start 3-0. 10th ranked Penn State is at Illinois. First Big Ten game for both these teams at 9 o'clock on FS1. I think Penn State's going to pull away late and beat Illinois. I don't think Illinois is that good. 10:30 on ESPN. 3-0 Washington State's at 1-2 USC. USC's having problems. I think this game's going to be close. I think Washington State's going to beat USC at the last second. I think USC has a lot of problems. I think Washington State's really dangerously underrated. Minshew has 8 touchdown passes, 1,203 yards. I think he'll throw the ball over USC. That'll be a close one. I think Bama's off. Wait, no, they host A&M, actually. This is all the games in order. 3-0 Georgia, second ranked in the nation, at 3-0 Missouri. This game's an upset watch. Drew Lock and Missouri, they don't play. I think this game's going to be close. This is on noon on ESPN. I think Georgia pulls away late, and they beat Missouri. Missouri hasn't played a Georgia team like this. Look out for that matchup. I like Georgia. On ABC, 8th ranked 3-0 Notre Dame is at unranked 2-1 Wake Forest. I think Notre Dame wins a close one. Could be an upset scare. They've been playing really bad the last 2 weeks. I like Notre Dame in that matchup. On FS1, 0-2 Nebraska is at 19th ranked 2-1 Michigan. First Big Ten game for both these teams. They don't look as good. I like Michigan in this matchup. I don't like Nebraska at all with Scott Frost this year. On ESPN2 at 12, 23rd ranked now Boston College. They're 3-0 at 0-3 Purdue. Purdue's disappointing this year. Boston College has playmakers all over the board. I like Boston College in this matchup. At noon on SEC Network, Kansas State's 1-2 at 2-1 Ole Miss. I like Ole Miss. They're going to dominate in this game. Look out. 12 o'clock at noon on BTN, Buffalo at Rutgers. This is an upset, I think. Tyree Jackson for Buffalo, sleeper guy. Buffalo might start 4-0. I think they're going to beat Rutgers. This game is a game to watch. First Big Ten game for both these teams. 3-0 Minnesota's at 2-1 Maryland. I like Minnesota in a close one here because Maryland didn't play that well against Temple. And they're always up and down. I like Minnesota, in this matchup. 2-0 Akron at noon. They're playing at Iowa State. I think Iowa State wins a close one, really close one against Akron. I think Akron's no sleeper, but I don't think they're going to go into Iowa State and beat them. 1-1 Ohio at noon. They're at 3-0 Cincinnati on ESPNU. I like Cincinnati to pull away late in the game. They look really good. I like the Bearcats. At noon on CBS Sports Network, 2-1 Nevada at 1-1 Toledo. This game's going to be a shootout, I think. I like Toledo in a really close game against Nevada. At noon on ESPN News, first American game for both Navy and SMU. This is at SMU. I like Navy to beat SMU. SMU doesn't look that good. 12:20 on ACC Network, 2-1 Pittsburgh's at 0-2 North Carolina. I like Pittsburgh to beat North Carolina. North Carolina's terrible this year. 12:30, 2-1 Louisville at 2-1 Virginia. I like Virginia to beat Louisville here in a sleeper game. Louisville didn't look that good against Western Kentucky. They don't look good at all this year, and that's not good for them. 2-1-2 teams, Western and Georgia State. I feel like this game's going to be close, but I think Western's going to pull away late at Georgia State. 3 o'clock, 0-3 Miami of Ohio's at 1-2 Bowling Green. I think Bowling Green wins a close one against Miami of Ohio. 3 o'clock, Western Kentucky's 0-3 at 1-2 Ball State. I like Ball State beat Western Kentucky. Illinois State's 2-0. They're at 1-3 Colorado State. I think Colorado State beats Illinois State close. 3 o'clock, I'll be at this one. 2-0 Maine's at 0-3 Central. I'm going to say it right now. I think Maine's going to beat Central Michigan. Central does not look good at all. I don't think this is an easy game, but Central doesn't look good at all. Maine beat Western Kentucky. This is one of my upset picks this week. I like Maine to beat Central Michigan. Can't believe I said that, but I think it's going to happen. A&M's 22nd ranked, and then they're playing at first ranked Alabama 2-1 at 3-0. I think Bama's going to pull away late, and they'll beat A&M at home, but look out, Alabama could be a sleeper game. 3:30 on ABC, 3-0 Clemson, third ranked at 1-2 Georgia Tech. I think it's going to be close early. I think Clemson pulls away late, and they beat Georgia Tech. Urban Meyer returns, fourth ranked Ohio State 3-0. They host 1-2 Tulane. Nick Bose is out, but I still think Ohio State's going to win the game with their defense and their offense regardless. That's on Big Ten Network. 2-1 Kansas State is at 2-0 12th ranked West Virginia. I think on ESPN, I think West Virginia is going to beat Kansas State. 3:30 Virginia Tech's 13th ranked. They're 2-0. They're at 0-3 Old Dominion on CBS Sports Network. I think Virginia Tech is going to dominate that game. 3:30 2-1 Florida Nationals at 21st ranked Miami. They're 2-1. I like Miami in that matchup. 1-2 Gardner-Webb's at 1-1 Appalachian State. I like Appalachian State. Charlotte's 2-1 at 1-3 Old UMass. I like Charlotte in a close game in this matchup. Duke's 3-0. They host North Carolina Central. I like Duke to start 4-0. 3:30. Look out for this one on ESPN. Northern Illinois at Florida State. I think Northern Illinois is going to give them a tough game to handle, but I think Florida State pulls away late. There's no way they're going to lose to NIU at home. That'd be embarrassing for Florida State. They'd have to fire Willie Taggart at the end of the season. 2-1 Kansas at 2-1 Baylor at FS1. If Kansas can get a Big 12 win, that would be a shocker. But I think Baylor's going to pull away late and they'll beat Kansas. That may be an interesting matchup. 4 o'clock, 1-2 Arizona's at 1-2 Oregon State. I like Kevin Sumlin in Arizona in this matchup. They can't, in the Pac-12 opener, Arizona can't lose to Oregon State. 4 o'clock on SEC Network, 1-1 South Carolina is at 2-1 Vanderbilt. I like South Carolina in a close one here. against Vandy. They haven't played in 2 weeks. They're feeling hungry. They want to win. 4 o'clock on ESPN News. UConn's 1-2 at 3-0 Syracuse. Eric Dungey's really good. I like Syracuse start 4-0 in that matchup. 4:30, 17th ranked TCU's 2-1, 2-1 Texas on Fox. I think Texas is going to upset TCU here. This is an unranked versus ranked matchup that I'm looking at. Texas is good at home. I like the Longhorns. It's going to be a good game. 25th ranked BYU. Good for them. They beat Wisconsin. They're ranked. They're 2-1. They play McNeese. I like BYU in this matchup. North Texas is 3-0 at 1-1 Liberty. I like North Texas. 2-1 Army's at 3-0 Oklahoma, 5th ranked. I like Oklahoma in this matchup. They're home. 2-0 Louisiana Tech at 6th ranked, 3-0 LSU. I love LSU right now. They're a great football team, really undervalued. 7 o'clock matchup, 3-0 Mississippi State at 3-0 Kentucky. I think this game's going to be a great game, and I think Mississippi State's going to pull away late, but they're on an upset watch. They're 14th ranked. I like Mississippi State. It's on ESPN2, by the way. ESPNU is the LSU game. Texas Tech's unranked. They're at 15th ranked Oklahoma State, 2-1 at 3-0 in FS1. I like Oklahoma State in that matchup. Rice is 1-2. They're at Southern Miss. They're 1-1. I like Southern Miss. Texas State's at UTSA. I like Texas State. They're 1-2. I think they'll win on the road. 7 o'clock. 2-1 UNLV at 2-1 Arkansas State. I like Arkansas State. 2-1 Coastal Carolina at 1-1 Louisiana. I like Coastal Carolina. Troy at UL Monroe. They're both 2-1. I like Troy in this matchup. They beat Nebraska. This is a very dangerous team. NC State's 2-0. They're at 2-0 Marshall on CBS Sports Network. I like NC State in a close one against Marshall. They haven't played because of the hurricane. 7 o'clock on ESPN. 2-1 Florida's at 2-1 Tennessee. Dan Mullen, Jeremy Pruitt, new head coaches. I actually like Tennessee in this matchup. I think they're going to win a close one against Florida. I think Florida's not good this year. Arkansas is at 9th ranked Auburn, and the SEC Network. I think Auburn's going to dominate Arkansas. Arkansas's having a down year under Chad Morris in his first year. 7:30 here. 1-1 MSU, 24th ranked at 3-0 IU. IU beats Michigan State. They deserve to be ranked. I think Indiana's going to beat Michigan State this week in an upset watch. New Mexico State's 0-4. They're at 0-3 UTEP. I like New Mexico State. These two teams are one of the worst in the FBS. The game of the week, 7th ranked 3-0 Stanford's at 3-0 Oregon, 20th ranked. I like Stanford if Bryce Love comes back. Oregon hasn't played anybody yet. I think Stanford wins that game. 8 o'clock, East Carolina's 1-1. They're at 3-0 South Florida. I like South Florida start 4-0. Texas Southern's at 2-1 Houston. I like Houston in that matchup. 8 o'clock, South Alabama 1-2 at 2-0 Memphis. I like Memphis. This is another upset watch here at 8:30 on Fox. 18th ranked Wisconsin's at 3-0 Iowa. I love Iowa here, actually. Wisconsin didn't look good at all against BYU. Iowa's got a great defense at home. I think Iowa's going to upset Wisconsin. This game could be for the Big Ten West. If Iowa beats Wisconsin, they deserve to jump up. Same with Indiana. Iowa and Indiana are dangerously underrated Big Ten teams that no one is talking about. I feel like they could make a jump in big wins this week. That's on Fox. 10:15, Air Force at Utah State. I like Utah State. They're 2-1. They look great in their offense. 2-1 Arizona State's at 10th ranked. 2-1 Washington on ESPN at 10:30. I like Washington at home. Jake Brown, I feel, is going to have a great game. 2-1 EMU's at 2-1 San Diego State at 10:30 on CBS Sports Network. I like San Diego State in this matchup. And DeQuincy's 3-1 at Hawaii at 3-1. I like Hawaii to beat DeQuincy. Those are all the matchups this week. We'll go over the standings next week too. NFL scores. I might start at 6:30 next week. It's getting a little late. I'm getting a lot of homework. So I'll let you guys know. Right now I wanted to go over the NFL games in the last week. Boy, the Bengals, they started 2-1. They 2-0. They beat the Ravens. They were up 28-14 at the half, and they won. They were only up 31-23 until the Bengals got some turnovers late in the game. They won 34-23 over the Baltimore Ravens. They're 2-0. Joe Mixon at 21 carries, 84 yards, but he got hurt. Flacco was 32 of 55 for 376 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Andy Dalton and A.J. Green. A.J. Green had 3 touchdowns on the first half. He has 4 total touchdowns. I think Andy Dalton has 4 touchdowns in this game. Andy Dalton looked great. They're leading the AFC North. I really like this Cincinnati team right now. If Joe Mixon, they got Giovanni Bernard, but they got A.J. Green, John Ross, Tyler Eifert. Cincinnati looks really good right now. We'll go over the Week 3 matchups and my predictions next week, or like after this. Atlanta beat Carolina. They're 1-1. They're both now 1-1. It was actually, I think it was 17-10 at the half, 24-10 in the third. Then Atlanta won 31-24. Newton got knocked out, almost got knocked out in the game. Almost he left the game one of the games in the series. Came back. He had 3 touchdowns, 32-45, 335 yards. That was the standout in that one. But I think Atlanta looked good at home. They're always a good-looking home team. They won 31-24. They're both 1-1. The Chargers and the Bills. The Bills look terrible. Vontae Davis retired at halftime. The Chargers won 28 to. They were up 28-6 at the half. It was too late. Melvin Gordon had 3 touchdowns in the first half, and Phillip Rivers was 23-27, near 256 yards, 3 touchdowns. As the Chargers go 1-1, the Bills are 0-2. They look terrible. Josh Allen has first start. By the way, LaShawn McCoy left the game. Buffalo looks in disarray. Vikings Packers. This game was ridiculous. It tied at 29. I don't like ties in the NFL. There's 2 of them. Minnesota had a great comeback, 22 points in the fourth quarter. Green Bay missed a field goal at the last second. Minnesota missed a field goal in overtime at the last second, and they both wound up tying. Kirk Cousins had 4 touchdowns in this game, 35-48, 425 yards. They're both 1-0 and 1. I can't believe that game could decide the NFC North possibly. And now they're both tied. Now the next time we see them play, they'll really know is, oh wow, these 2 teams tied the last game, which is a joke. I think Green Bay had 2 chances to win. Minnesota had a chance to win, and they both blew it. I don't think these guys will make it. If they win the division, they won't make a first round out of the playoffs. We'll see, though. Tennessee beat Houston 20-17. Gabbert and Mario kept switching in. Deshaun Watson, 10 yards, 22-32, 2 touchdowns. Suckup had a 31-yard field goal. As Tennessee, I was surprised at this matchup. Gabbert, they played well against that Houston defense. They won 2017. I think both these teams are a little disappointing right now. The Browns had a great chance to win. They had a chance to win twice. They were down 18-12 in the fourth. Tyrod Taylor threw to Callaway, I think, and it tied at 18, but Cleveland missed the extra point and lost, and then blew it. Saints went down there, kicked the field goal. They were up 21-18. Cleveland goes down there. Zane Gonzalez missed another field goal and an extra point, gets cut, and the Browns lost 21-18. They're 0-1-1, and the Saints are 1-1. Disappointment all around for the Browns. They keep losing games in the weird ways. Miami's a sleeper team. They started 2-0. They won 20-12. They beat the Jets. Darnold had 334 yards, threw 41 times. That's a lot for the Jets. Had 2 interceptions. Kenyon Drake had 11 carries, 53 yards, and a touchdown. But Miami won 20-12. Their defense is hard hitting. Look out for Miami. They're a sleeper team. Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs. Oh my goodness, this Chiefs-Steelers game. A lot to talk about here. Chiefs are up 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. Then Steelers came back. It was 21-all. 35-28 in the third. Then the Chiefs won 42-37. Mahomes had 6 touchdowns. He's leading the NFL with 10 touchdowns. This guy came out of nowhere. He's a sleeper guy. Big Ben had 3 touchdowns too. But Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, the Steelers are so dysfunctional in offense. Bell doesn't show up. Now Antonio Brown is complaining about the play calls. Didn't show up to a team meeting. Pittsburgh, they're going to have a long year. They're not. Oh my goodness. Pittsburgh's terrible this year. They have a lot of bad offense. The bad defense, they can't stop anybody. Patrick Mahomes is freaking great. He's great. And the kid's good. He's a gunslinger. He learned a lot from Alex Smith, Andy Reid. The Chiefs are dangerous. They're the best team in the AFC right now, I think. They're really good right now. We'll talk more about what other team I think coming up. The Bucks, too, beat the defending champion Super Bowl Eagles, and they're 2-0 now. And we won 27-21. Fitzpatrick was 27-33, 402 yards, 4 touchdowns. Sean Jackson had 4 receptions, 129 yards, 1 touchdown. The Bucks. If Fitzpatrick keeps doing what he's doing, I know it's 2 games. If he does well the next 2 games or so, keep him as the starter. Keep the hot hand going. He's doing great. You might forget about Jameis Winston. The Eagles don't have a good secondary. I don't think they'll repeat as Super Bowl champions now. I thought they'd be 14-2 or 13-3. They lose to the Bucks. They look terrible. The Colts won 21-9 against the Redskins. They slowed down Adrian Peterson. And Luck had 2 touchdowns. And they won 21-9. Indy's defense is all over Adrian Peterson and Alex Smith. Washington couldn't get any touchdowns going. Indy's defense looked great. The Rams look like the best team in football, though, right now. They won 34-0. Their defense is great. Todd Gurley has 3 touchdowns. Goff looks great. Their defense looks great. Arizona looks like one of the worst teams in the league. Bradford, I think we'll see Josh Rosen in Week 4 start, the next rookie quarterback to start. The Rams are 2-0. Cardinals are 0-2. Niners-Lions was a good one. Niners won 30-27. Breda was great, 11 carries, 138 yards, and a touchdown. Stafford, 3 touchdowns, threw it way too much, 53 times, but the Niners won 30-27. Broncos beat the Raiders 20-19. Cooper, Lynch, and Carr all look great. The Oakland defense just looks horrible. They had a great lead. Denver blew it. I mean, Oakland blew it. Denver came back to win the game, 20-19. Derek Carley had 3 incompletions in the game, by the way. Philip Lindsay's a guy running back to watch. He had 14 carries, 107 yards. Denver might have found a running back in that situation. Case Keenum. They just needed the quarterback. Denver's a sleeper team. Now, they're good. They got the defense. They got a quarterback. They just got to stop beating close games. Jags started 2-0. The Patriots are 1-1. And the Jags won 31-20. They looked really good defensively. Bortles had 4 touchdowns against the Patriots defense. Keelan Cole had 116 yards off 7 receptions and a touchdown. And Brady, they looked bad and not really good against the Jags. That Jag defense made the Patriots look silly. Cowboys beat the Giants. They won 20-13. They're 1-1. Giants 0-2. Their offensive line looks horrible in New York. Eli kept getting roughed up the whole game. Zeke Elliott 17 carries, 78 yards. Barkley had 80 yards receiving wise, which was disappointing. He couldn't run the ball. The Giants can't rely on Barkley too much, and their offensive line's terrible. That's not good in that case. The Bears, Khalil Mack, that Bears defense is scary to play. Russell Wilson was running everywhere last night. As the Seahawks go 0-2, the Bears won. They won 24-17. Allen Robinson had 10 receptions, 83 yards. The Bears and Cowboys pass rush look really good. So did the Jags too. Also NFL news, Josh Gordon signed with the Patriots. Bashard Perriman and Michael Floyd signed with the Redskins. But with the Patriots, if they got Josh Gordon, Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski, Cordell Patterson, 2 good running backs right behind him, look out for the Patriots the rest of the year. Julian Edelman's coming back in Week 4. Oh boy, that game against Miami Week 4 is going to be fun. We'll talk about that one next week after the Week 3 previews. The Jets are 1-1. They're at the 0-1 Browns. I think the Browns are finally going to get a win. They'll beat the Jets. I don't know if we'll see Baker Mayfield in this game. I don't think we will. The Sunday games, 1-1 Saints are at the 1-1 Falcons. I like Atlanta here. They're a great home team. New Orleans hasn't played well at all the first 2 games. 1 o'clock as well. San Francisco's at Kansas City. 1-1, 2-0. Garoppolo, Mahomes. I like the Chiefs at home. Garoppolo's going to have a lot of fits, I think, in that loud environment, Arrowhead for the Chiefs, and it's their home opener. Oakland is at Miami 0-2 at 2-0. Miami's defense is great. I think it's going to be a close one, but I like the Dolphins in this matchup. Bills are at the Vikings 0-2 at 1-0-1. I think the Vikings dominate the Bills in this one. Tough place to play if you're Buffalo. Indy at Philly's a game to watch this week. They're both 1-1. This game, Wentz is starting too. I like Luck and Wentz, but Philly's secondary looks awful. Indy did what they did, got pressured Alex Smith. I think Indy's going to upset Philly. I just got a feeling about this one. Look out for that. Packers are 1-0-1 at 1-1 Washington. I think Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay, they win that one. Cincinnati's 2-0 at 1-1 Carolina. I like the Panthers here. Bengals, this is going to be a tight game, I think. Newton and Dalton have been playing great. I like Carolina in this matchup. Great matchup. 1-1 Tennessee at 2-0 Jacksonville. Depends on if Mariota's healthy or not. I think they'll struggle anyways against Jacksonville. I think the Jags win against the Titans. They'll start 3-0. Denver's 2-0 in their first road game at 1-1 Baltimore. I think this one's going to be close. I think Baltimore actually beats Denver in this matchup. Giants are 0-2 at 0-2 Houston. I think Deshaun Watson's going to have a big breakout game. I think Houston's going to win against the Giants. They'll be 1-2. The Giants are going to be 0-3. Chargers and the Rams. I think the Rams are going to dominate Phillip Rivers, and Phillip Rivers is going to have a lot of fits. They're 1-1. The Rams are 2-0. I like the Rams to win. I think they're the best team in the NFL right now currently, other than the Jags and the Chiefs. Excuse me. The Bears and the Cardinals, 1-1 at 0-2. The Bears, Mac. I think Bradford could get hurt or get benched, and Rosen's going to get his first play in time. I think the Bears dominate the Cardinals in that matchup. Cowboys, Seahawks. Seattle's a tough place to play. I like Seattle, though. They're 1-2 against 1-2, but Dallas might give them a good pass rush, I think. That might be a low-scoring game. I like Seattle. New England's going to dominate in Josh Gordon's debut, 1-1 at 0-2 Detroit. Detroit's terrible on defense. They can't stop the run at all. Pittsburgh at Tampa Bay, 0-1 and 2-0 Tampa Bay. I like the Bucks here. Pittsburgh can't stop anybody. Fitzpatrick's been looking great. And I hope Tampa Bay wins this one. They look like a dangerously underrated team. These standings, I like to go over the NFL standings every week. Oh, wow, it's really dark out already. I'm surprised. AFC East, Miami's 2-0. New England and the Jets are 1-1. The Bills are 0-2. The AFC North, Cincinnati's 2-0. Baltimore's 1-1. Cleveland and Pittsburgh are 0-1. AFC South, the Jags are 2-0. The Tennessee and Indy are 1-1. And the Houston Texans are 0-2. The AFC West, the Chiefs and Broncos are 2-0. The Chargers are 1-1. And the Raiders are 0-2. The NFC East, Cowboys, Redskins, and Eagles, they're all 1-1. Giants are 0-2. Packers and Vikings are tied at 1-0-1 for the NFC North. The Bears are 1-1. The Lions are 0-2. The NFC South, the Bucks are 2-0. The Falcons, Panthers, and Saints are all 1-1. And the NFC West, the Rams are 2-1, 2-0. Niners are 1-1. Seahawks are 0-2, and the Cardinals are 0-2. Right now in the stats, I like the NFL stats to read them right now. Ryan Fitzpatrick's leading the league in passing yards, 819. Big Ben second. Drew Brees third. Phillip Rivers fourth. Kirk Cousins fifth. Rushing yards, Matt Breida has 184 yards. He's leading the league in rushing over Joe Mixon, Philip Lindsay, Lamar Miller, and James Conner. Deshaun Jackson's leading the league in receiving yards. He has 275 yards. Michael Thomas right behind him. Tyreek Hill, Brandon Cooks, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Darius Leonard of Indianapolis has the most tackles. Von Miller has the most sacks for Denver. Rashad Jones, Darian Lee. A few guys are tied with 2 interceptions. Leads the league in passing, like he said. Mahomes is only 10th. I'm surprised by that stat. But, yeah. Wow, I'm looking at this. Derrick Henry's 40th, but it's Fitzpatrick, Big Ben, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Kirk Cousins, Stafford, Flacco, Carr, Goff, and Mahomes are the top 10 in passing yards. In rushing, actually touchdowns. I'm looking at touchdowns right now. A.J. Green's got 4 touchdowns. He's tied with Todd Gurley, Tyreek Hill for the most touchdowns in the NFL at the moment. Let's see. Interceptions. Who's leading the whole league in interceptions? I just look at it for the team. I'm curious right now. I'm just looking at it for week 2. Yeah, there's a few of them. There's like 6 guys that are tied with 2 interceptions right now. I'm looking at the team overall. But right now, Ryan Fitzpatrick leading the league in passing yards. Didn't see that coming after 2 weeks at all. And he's leading Big Ben, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, and Kirk Cousins. That's unbelievable, man. The MLB standings. Oh, scores right now. It's dark out. I could go and do homework soon. Wow. It's getting darker and darker as we go along. Red Sox, Yankees, scoreless, bottom second. Baltimore's 107 losses. They're up 1-0 in the top third over the Blue Jays. Mets, Phillies are scoreless. Royals, Pirates are scoreless, bottom second. Top third, White Sox, Indians. Indians are up 2-0. They clinched the AL Central. This weekend, the Twins and Tigers, it's scoreless mid-second. Nats are up 2-0 over the Marlins. Cardinals, Braves are in the top of the first, and Reds, Brewers are in the top of the first as well. Rays, Rangers are at 8:05. Mariners and Astros are at 8:10. Cubs at Diamondbacks at 9:40. Angels at A's at 10:05. Rockies at Dodgers at 10:10. And Giants at Padres at 10:10. The standing... Actually, I'm looking at the weekend games this week. I talk more MLB once the playoffs go along. Cubs, White Sox are weekend series. Red Sox, Indians, potential playoff preview this weekend on ESPN2, 7 o'clock Friday. Baltimore's at the Yankees, Mets at the Nationals, Brewers at the Pirates, Rays at the Blue Jays, Royals at the Tigers, Reds at the Marlins, Phillies at the Braves, Mariners at the Rangers, Angels at the Astros, Giants at the Cardinals, Rockies at the D-backs, potential, wildcard preview. Twins at the A's, and the Padres are at the Dodgers. Wanted to go over the standings really quick for the MLB. Red Sox clinched they clinched the playoff berth. They're 103-47. The Yankees are 11 games back. The Rays are 19 games back. Blue Jays are 35 back, and Baltimore 60 back. That's not very good. Cleveland Indians clinched the AL Central. They're 83-66. The Twins, they're 14 games back. Tigers 22 back. White Sox 24 back. Royals are 31 back. AL West is the only tight division right now. The Astros are up by 4 games over the A's. Seattle has 11 games back. Angels are 20 games back. Rangers 30 games back. The National League East, the Braves have an 83-67 record. They're up by 6 games over the slipping Phillies. 7 over the Nats. 13 over the Mets. Been winning a lot lately. 24 over the Marlins. The NL Central's tight. The NL Central's tight too. Cubs are up by 2 games over the Brewers. 5 over the Cardinals. 12 over the Pirates. 24 over the Reds. And the NL West, the Dodgers are up by half a game over the Rockies. 5, the Diamondbacks are slipping. They're third place. 12 at the Giants. 23 of the Padres. And the wild card standings right now. Not if anybody's going to catch anybody. I wanted to go over that real quick. Yankees and A's are the top team, but the Rays, they're 83-66. They're 6 games back. Seattle's 7 games back. But I'm saying there's a chance the A's have to have a monumental slip if the Rays came back all the way and got the second wild card spot, 6 games back. I had to see if they're playing in a series down the stretch, but right now, if the Rays caught the A's, that'd be the only way the second wild card spot could get taken. And the National League wild card, the Brewers and Cardinals are the top 2 teams. The Rockies are half a game back. I think now it's between the Brewers Cardinals, and Rockies. I don't know if the Diamondbacks and Phillies can catch up. They're 5-6 back. The Pirates, Nats, and Giants, it's too late for them. 7 games back for the Pirates and Nats. 12 for the Giants. They're way out of there. It's between the Brewers, Cardinals, and Rockies right now. And the NL West is getting wild. Diamondbacks and Phillies are also slipping in the NL West and the NL East. I think they're out of contention right now. And the NASCAR playoffs happened as well. Any score updates? Not a lot of score updates right now. NASCAR up 2-0. No big score updates. I'm going to go over the NASCAR playoff that happened. That's the first race. Everybody at Vegas. It's boring. Brad Keselowski won again. Now it's getting too predictable for NASCAR. Brad Keselowski won his 3rd straight race in a row. No surprise. He's becoming part of the Big 4 instead of the Big 3. He won the race. Larson finished 2nd. Truex finished 3rd. Logano finished 4th. Blaney finished 5th. Eric Almirola 6th. Kyle Busch 7th. Suarez 8th. Newman 9th. Paul Menard 10th. And the standings there, it's the first race. Brad Keselowski advances to the round of 12. I want to go over the standings real quick. I got to get going and do some homework myself. Could talk more. I might do it next week. I might go to 6:30 next week. It's really dark out. Yeah, Brad Keselowski is winning the point standings. He has 3 wins. Truex is 2nd. Kyle Busch 3rd with 6. Truex is 4. Harvick is 4th. He has 7. Gano's 5th. Kurt Busch is 6th. They got 1 win each. Blaney 7th. Larson is 8th. Emerald is 9th. Dillon's 10th. Boyer's 11th. 12th Bowman. Right outside there, Jimmy Johnson, Chase Elliott, Eric Jones, and Denny Hamlin. Right now, not a lot of big NBA news. The preseason's coming up. Dwayne Wade signed a 1-year deal with the Heat in his last and 16th season. Good for Dwayne Wade. Any other news and notes? And not right now. Cardinals Braves are on right now. See, that's a potential maybe wild card / baseball playoff preview. Cardinals need to do something for the wild card chances. So next week I'll go over more of the NCAA conference football standings, like more of the NFL. A lot going on. Steelers, I think, and surprises. I want to go over my surprises for college football and NFL. I forgot to do that. I was going over standings and stuff. My big disappointments and big surprises, I think, right now in each conference. The American Athletic. Right now, I'm not. Central Florida, Cincinnati look really good. But no big disappointments in that one. The ACC, Boston College is a big sleeper. Clemson, Syracuse, they're big sleepers. They look really good. Disappointments are Louisville and Florida State. And the Coastal, Miami's a disappointment already. I thought they'd be a national title contender. Georgia Tech looks disappointing. Virginia Tech looks great, by the way. For the ACC, the Big 12, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, they look great. Kansas is also a surprise. They start 2-1. They look awesome. And disappointments right now, Texas Tech, Iowa State. Texas Tech already with a tough loss. I don't know. We'll see. They have a tough schedule down the stretch. Those are the disappointments in my eyes. Big Ten. Surprises right now, Wisconsin, Michigan. Michigan's actually, they're big disappointments with Wisconsin, Michigan, Michigan State, Nebraska, Purdue. I thought Purdue was going to do a lot more in Nebraska this year, but they're having Northwestern too. They're a huge disappointment. Surprises right now. Also, Maryland's a disappointment in the Big Ten. I think that whole division's a disappointment. Surprises right now. I know Ohio State's good. Indiana, Iowa, Minnesota, they look like sleeper teams. CUSA, North Texas looks like a big sleeper team. Look out for them. Notre Dame hasn't been playing great, even though they've been winning games. The MAC Conference, Buffalo's a big sleeper team. Akron looks great. Look out for those two teams in the MAC. Toledo and Northern Illinois, I think it's going to go down between them for the West. I don't think Central looks really good. Boise State is a disappointment now for me because they already lost to Oklahoma State, and they're not going to be in the group of 5 top right now. They lost. I think they're out of the rankings. The Pac-12 between Stanford and Washington for the North. I think Oregon hasn't played anybody yet. Arizona and UCLA. UCLA looks terrible. USC looks terrible too. They look like disappointments in the Pac-12. The SEC, big surprises. Kentucky looks great. Missouri looks great. LSU looks fantastic. A&M's all right, but they got to improve some stuff. Disappointments right now, Arkansas. Florida doesn't look that good. And those are the big disappointments for my SEC. Sun Belt, Appalachian State and Troy playing well against Big Ten teams are my surprises. No disappointments because it's the Sun Belt. The NFL, my big surprises and big disappointments before I go off the air here. Miami, Cincinnati, and Tampa Bay are my biggest surprises right now. Miami looks like a hard-hitting defense. Tampa Bay, Fitzpatrick, Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans, they're connecting. Cincinnati, AJ Green, Andy Dalton, they're finally connecting. They look fantastic. Those are my big surprises. And I think the Chiefs and Rams are the top two teams in each conference. The Chiefs look great, but I think the Rams are the best team in the whole right now. The Jags are my other top three. There's only 7 undefeated teams: Miami, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Kansas City, Denver, Tampa Bay, and the Rams. I'm looking at undefeated teams right now, risk of losing. Right now, Miami's hosting Oakland. I think Miami wins that one. Cincinnati's at Carolina. I think Cincinnati loses to Carolina. I'm looking at undefeated teams. Jacksonville hosts Tennessee this week. I think Jacksonville beats Tennessee. Kansas City hosts San Fran. I think Kansas City beats San Francisco. And Denver's at Baltimore. I think Denver loses to Baltimore. Tampa Bay is hosting Pittsburgh. I think Tampa Bay wins. I think the Rams will beat the Chargers as well. So I think Cincinnati, there's going to be 5 undefeated teams after this week. I think Cincinnati and Denver are going to lose. My big disappointments right now, the Bills and the Steelers are disappointing. Houston looks disappointing. Oakland looks disappointing. Those are AFC. The Giants, I thought they would do more. The Eagles haven't done well as a Super Bowl repeating team. Lions look bad. The Saints look like a big disappointment waiting to happen. And the Seahawks losing everybody. That's not good for them. So those are my big disappointments and big surprises for them. Next week, we'll talk more NASCAR playoff, more NFL surprises and disappointments. Go over the games for each next week and last week. MLB standings going up into the final week, see who gets where. I'll talk more MLB once the playoffs go along. I have to get going, so thank you for tuning in. I think I'm going to start at 6:30 next week because I'm getting a lot of homework. I might start at 6:30 just because I might wake up. So I'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know. Keep me posted. You can watch live all week. You don't have to watch live. You can watch past. You can watch past shows on here. I'm going to post it. You can watch it at this anytime, at least by Thursday, hopefully, before the next NFL game starts. But just keep watching and slip me up. Weekly podcast, LMAC. Have a nice day, everybody.